Good evening, everybody. Welcome to 49ers Live tonight, the Monday, the Aftermath special edition. Guys just tuning into the game, just wrapping up watching the college football national championship game. The Indiana Hoosiers capping off the season 16-0. They beat my Miami Hurricanes, unfortunately, 27-21. But I'm proud of my guys. Proud of representing the U. Been following the Hurricanes football for all my life. Excuse me. Indiana captures their first ever national championship game. Fernando Mendoza, who most likely will be going to be the top pick of the NFL draft, possibly going to the Raiders, threw for 186 yards. While looking at some of these numbers, we're going to go very quick, a very short show tonight because we're going to and we'll have another one, I believe, tomorrow. So just taking a look at everything. And for Carson Beck, 19 to 32, 232 yards. He threw a touchdown, but he threw an interception. And Mark Fletcher, 112 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns in a losing effort. Looking at the stats in the game, the final stats in this contest, to looking at so the Hurricanes fell just short. Miami had 342 all total yards of offense to the Hoosiers 317. So Miami was penalized. Penalties has been a big bugaboo. 7 times for 60 yards. Indiana Hoosiers only 5 times for 38 yards, and it was too much Hoosiers, of course. 36 minutes and 24 seconds. They held the time of possession for over 35 minutes in the contest. So disappointing way to end the year, but congratulations to the Miami Hurricanes. They had a great year. Proud of the guys. They went far. They went further than anyone had expected. They were on the bubble, one of the teams on the bubble to getting into the college football tournament going in. They did not play for the ACC championship, but they got in that large bid. So they went further than anyone expected. And make no bones about it, Miami should be in the conversation next year and many years ahead. So congratulations to Mario Cristobal, a Miami U alum. And so now there's to move forward. The Niners season came to an end on Saturday night, 41-6. Niners' worst postseason defeat since that ugly 49-3 debacle to the New York Giants back in the 86 Divisional Playoff back on January of 1987. And that's when Joe Montana got knocked out of that game with a concussion. So, and then the Giants would go on to win the Super Bowl that year. So, without further ado, we are now going to go into the 49er locker room, and it's going to be Dominic Lenore, Christian McCaffrey, Brock Purdy, have their reflections on the season. They clean out their locker rooms earlier in the day. And you guys check us out, youtube.com/@NinersRadio49. Please click the subscribe button. Our mission is trying to get over 1,000 subscribers. So we're just going to continue to build this thing and get more viewers. So we're going to send it to the 49er locker room now. We're going to send it to the 49er locker room early in the day. And all the feed from our friends from 49ers.com. So without further ado, it is the players recapping the season, their thoughts, and this segment begins right now.
What can you say about all the young guys who got such valuable snaps and game time this year?
That was a big help this year. They showed up in big games, made plays. They played very dominant, especially up and stout. I got to give credit to them because me, playing the nickel position, I know how hard it gets when you have a run assignment and a pass assignment. So I just knowing what he had to go through, every snap. So, I just take my hat off to him.
You've had a few days to reflect and, take in the loss, but then also understand that this season, you guys went pretty far with second, third, and fourth hand guys. Does that kind of help you to understand that this was a pretty productive season at the end of the day?
Yeah, for sure. It just let me know, what type of character we got on this team. With just guys having to be in spots, they never played before, just coming to learn. Guys we signing off the street, just having to pick up on the playbook and just, playing big games and just, knowing they didn't have a lot of starts, but, that they showed up in, the biggest moments.
In your first year as a captain, what did you learn about yourself and leadership as you had to do that for so many of these young guys?
Really that I have a voice on this team. I didn't know, a lot of guys respected my word, until I spoke to the team. I want to say Chicago game, a lot of guys was telling me after I had spoke, that they love my speech and stuff. So, yeah, that was probably the biggest thing.
Guys who've reached your level of play have a lot of are self-critical a lot of times on their own game. Like, I got to do better at this. When you look back at your season, what do you want to do more? Because you surprised, you can't even believe you made it through the whole season without an interception.
I had 2 interceptions.
Oh, I'm sorry, I screwed that up. I was thinking of the defense as a whole.
Yeah, just taking the ball away more. Just whether I'm not getting a lot of targets, so just affecting the run game. Getting strips and. A different way, I would say.
Because you did a lot of good things without getting a lot of takeaways. If you add takeaways to what you're already doing, does that make you guys pretty good?
Yeah, I definitely think it make us more elite, as a defense, with creating more turnovers. As a whole, I think just as a secondary, us, just playing the ball more, just having that confidence, being put in those positions and just, growing that confidence with just attacking the ball.
I know it's a long time ago, over 4 months ago, but the start of this season, before you lost Nick, before you lost Fred, especially that first game against Seattle, the defense was really good. Does that kind of give you fuel heading into this offseason, knowing you're going to get these guys back?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Just looking at the whole season, just getting this far, without those guys, it got me fueled up more for next year.
What did you learn about Kyle Shanahan this year as a coach? Is this possibly his best year with you here? Do you feel that way?
Oh, yeah, for sure. With just how he was, just so efficient and just able to, have guys, put guys in plays, have guys make plays and then putting them in position, to get open. I think he's one of the best to do it.
You posted on Instagram that you want everybody to leave Robert Saleh alone.
Oh, yeah. Just having a guy like Saleh, he was so energetic coming off when we first met him. Just playing for him, it was a blessing, just to learn how, he's really a defensive mastermind, despite, what we had going, us losing games or, the last game, I think he's still one of the best to do it. Just me, being in the NFL.
What do you think about Gus Bradley?
Gus was great. Gus helped us a lot. Just figuring out stuff in the strike zone areas. He was in charge of like the red zone and stuff. He was just had so much knowledge for us.
Do a couple more. What's the hardest part about a day like today when you guys are packing up and that this officially closes this particular season?
Just all the relationships, built. You never know like who's gonna be here or who's not. That was probably the hardest thing for me.
What would you say would be the most significant relationship you grew this year, especially if it's a rookie, maybe Stout, maybe someone else? What relationship do you think was most significant for you?
I kind of got closer to the whole DB room, I would say. Like the year before, like we really didn't know each other. Like we knew each other and we was playing hard for each other. But I feel like our relationship like got more tighter this year. Like we started doing more like team bonding stuff.
That's the first question. Be how are you feeling? How's rehab going so far?
And I feel great. I'm in a good spot with rehab. On my feet again. Feel good to be back walking and moving around. Emotionally, I ain't gonna lie to you, it's been hard. It was hard. I was dealing with something like this of this significance. Probably the biggest injury I ever had. And then just the timetable that it takes. Then like missing all the important games that I'm missing. And then just the events that I'm missing with the guys out there. It would have been nice to be a part of it.
Like how were you able to kind of just process the games that you did play? And what did you learn from it? What do you take into next year from you?
Basically, I process kind of like how I've been processing in the past, like just breaking down the film and taking out my good things from it and putting it to the side, taking out my bad things from it and putting it up front and focusing on the bad things to try to eliminate those.
What did you see? What are the things you want to work on?
Like pad level. Like it's like little technique things like pad level, sometimes hand placement, sometimes my steps too wide or I'm not on my line, like things like that. Yeah. Man, it helped me a lot. Man, both has been extremely helpful. Like he's like a real big.
We're gonna do Christian McCaffrey and Brock Purdy. Then we're gonna wrap it up for tonight. So these were the players from earlier in the day in the Niners. They were cleaning out their lockers down at the practice facility in Santa Clara. We will have another edition of 49ers Live tonight, tomorrow. I don't know when they're going to have Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch's final their press conference be scheduled. I think they'll have it maybe tomorrow. I'm going to find out when they. We'll try to find out. I'll get more information on it, but we will. We'll let you know. Right now, we're gonna send it back to over there from early in the day. It's Brock. It will be Christian McCaffrey, then Brock Purdy. We'll send it to you right now.
What is your assessment on the season and where you are now health-wise?
Yeah, I think it was such an encouraging year from a individual standpoint, being around this group of guys who came into work with the right attitude, the right mindset every day, and just kept fighting no matter what was thrown our way, and I'll always be grateful to be a part of this
You
team.
led the league in touches this year. Does that go into your kind of calculus going into the off season and what you'll do and how you'll approach it?
You know, yes and no. You know, it's more on how you feel. I feel really good. You know, obviously last game I had some neck stuff going on, but nothing that's going to keep me out or anything like that. So I'm really grateful to finish the season healthy. And you know, last year I didn't lead the league in touches, and that was a much tougher off season. So, you know, it's really just how you feel, and feel blessed to be able to feel good and get ready to train.
Christian,
You
I asked you
said
the
that
other
this
night,
was
you
one
said
of
it
the
was
hardest years of your Very nice. You said it was the hardest year of your life. When you now have had a chance to reflect on it, what about it made it so hard? But then, what is the silver lining for you when you also try and find the positive, the glass half full?
Yeah, I think just physically more than anything, just coming off of, you know, 3 injuries that took a long time to get back to training, building a base, all that stuff. It was more just the time and the monotony of training and rehab and doing that stuff every day for a full off season, then to come into this season and have, you know, a long year. And so just to get a little time to breathe will be nice. But the silver lining, you know, I probably sound repetitive, but the silver lining is I feel very blessed that when I look back on my career, I was a part of this team. Of a great locker room, great staff, great leadership, a bunch of guys who just do it the right way. You know, it was nothing said, or there wasn't an aha moment that made us realize we can be a special team. It was just the guys that collectively committed to each other every day, and again, it's fun to be a part of that.
You can't draw a straight line from one season to the next, but what do you think that what you guys were able to accomplish this year? How does it position you and set you up moving forward?
Well, I think we'll get some guys back, which will be huge, obviously. Goes without saying. And then you get a lot of young guys and a lot of guys who, you know, were backups who played a lot of meaningful snaps. And I always say the best way to learn football is experience. It's to play meaningful snaps and meaningful games. And we had a lot of guys do that this year. And so from a depth perspective, when we get some guys back healthy, you know, you have guys who know what it's like to play in a game, who know what it's like to prepare during a week, and I think that's extremely valuable.
Christian, in the 48 hours you walk off the field, your season ends, and now you're going to walk out of here and officially close. You're saying goodbye to some guys. What are those emotions like in the last couple of days as you head in the off season?
It's always weird, man. It's weird because, you know, whether you know somebody on a personal level or not, you know, your family. You go through so much from OTAs until now with each other, and you work so hard, and I think that's why football is the best sport on the planet. You know, you truly have a group of collective, you know, men who sacrifice so much time and effort to collectively get a goal, and then it just ends and you go your separate ways. And so it's always a little bit weird in that sense, but and I don't think we say it enough. And I know when I was younger, when seasons ended, I would always, you know, be ready for the next one. Like, we got to get back. And found out today, you know, it's, again, anytime you're honored by your peers, I take it very seriously, and it's a huge honor. Yeah, I mean, I don't, you know, again, I didn't do any part of a team that was encouraging. It's a great award that I'm honored to receive. But move on. Yep.
Christian, last one, guys. NFL history, it's generally not a great idea for a running back to keep getting 400 touches. I mean, I know you want to be on the field and do that, but would you turn 30 and live through the rest of your career? Would it be beneficial to have someone who can have more of a time share with you?
You know, I think I always think load management happens during the week. You know, you got to be ready to play in the games as much as possible. And they did such a good job this year of limiting my practice time, you know, not giving me more than I could handle, essentially. That's a coach's decision, not mine. You know, I'll do whatever it takes for this team. If I get 5 touches a game, if I get 25 25 touches. It doesn't matter to me, man. I just want to play, win football games, and whatever they have me do, I'll do. But I love playing football. I love the balls in my hands. Love competing. I'll always be that way. But again, if they want to bring someone in, I'm all for it. I think having more guys that can help us win football games is never a bad idea. I just and I'm sure they'll probably hopefully you want a guy that wants the ball to play too. I think high tide rises all ships, and that's what it takes to win games as a team. So again, that's their decision.
Brock, a lot of guys. So many reps. Do you have the same feeling?
Definitely. It's pretty cool to have the amount of young guys that we had, offensively, defensively, special teams, step up into the roles that they had this year and flourish and take advantage of their ops and stuff. And so with that, obviously you think things can always get better if you have experience with things. So that's something that we all will definitely look forward to.
Brock, you mentioned the other night the toe felt pretty good as the year went on. Will you need any procedure or any sort of special rehab or treatment after the season that would change your off season at all, or is that all good?
No, yeah, toe's good to go. I mean, obviously I'll continue to strengthen it and give it some rest and whatnot too. So, but it's good.
When you reflect on this season, what did you learn most? I know at one point in the season when I asked you about the time you spent off and kind of clicking with yourself, it was that time you had to spend off of the field with the toe turf. Now that it's all over, what have you learned the most and what have you reflected on the longest?
I think, just our quarterback room and Nick Lombardi, we talked about it today a little bit, but just, how hard he coached the quarterbacks, but also had fun within the year, and what the mindset needs to be, going into each and every game. I feel like I grew in that regard, and my fundamentals, I feel like I got better this year and still improve, but I just feel like I got better in that space. So obviously
All right, you heard from Brock Purdy and from Christian McCaffrey. By the way, Christian McCaffrey was named the Bill Walsh Award winner and the Leonard Eshmont Award winner for 2025. That is the award given to the Niners whose inspirational, courageous play. He got that award in the Bill Walsh Memorial Award. I'm trying to think. So that was that. By the way, Robert Saleh got being interviewed for the flew out to Nashville for an interview for possibly he'll become the new Titans. He's a finalist now for the Tennessee Titans head coach. And then Clint Kubiak going to interview for possibly being the offensive coordinator for the Las Vegas Raiders. And all that other stuff. Other NFL news for the day: Sean McDermott, the Bills fire Sean McDermott after that heartbreaking loss to the Denver Broncos in the AFC Divisional Playoff on Saturday. So he was there for 9 seasons. He really changed the culture, and that's just the Bills, who had a lot of high expectations this year to get to the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, the ends turned into disappointment. So McDermott will get another chance when that time is available. And then Bo Nix for the Broncos breaks his ankle in the playoff game on Saturday. He will miss the rest of the postseason. Rams over the Bears in the overtime game last night in Chicago. It will be Seahawks and Rams for the NFC Championship rubber match. The winner of that game will advance to Super Bowl 60 in the Bay, coming up less than 3 weeks time. And the other semifinal, it was the Patriots over the Houston Texans in the divisional playoff. So it will be the Broncos Patriots for the AFC Championship in Denver, and then Seattle will host the Rams next Sunday up in Seattle. That's it for now. Professor B going to sign off, and the Miami Hurricanes were 27, or the Indiana Hoosiers were 27 to 21 winners over the Hurricanes at Hard Rock Stadium for the College Football National Championship game. Indiana finished the season at 16-0. Miami had a great year. They end up finishing at 13-3, and the Hoosiers win their first ever national championship. So congratulations to the Indiana Hoosiers. They're the champions of the college football world. And congratulations to the Miami Hurricanes. Great year. They went for a team was on the bubble, going all the way to the championship. They have nothing to be ashamed about, and it's going to be some bigger, brighter days for the Hurricane program led by Miami alum and head coach Mario Cristobal. That's it for now, Professor B. We'll have another edition of 49ers Live tomorrow. We'll try to find out when Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch will have their final press conference of the year, and we'll try to play that is entirely tomorrow. Check out the latest on the 49ers news. Go to 49ers.com and always youtube.com/@Niners Radio 49. That's it for now. Professor B signing off, and good night from our satellite digital media studios in San Francisco. Thank you for watching 49ers Live tonight, the aftermath, right here on Niners Radio 49, in association with the Satellite Digital Media News Network, where every team is a fan, every fan is a voice, the network home of champions. Wish you all a very pleasant good night, everybody. Take care.